course, the internet was set ablaze yesterday when videos of LP's 2023 presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, who is also a former governor of Anambra State, was seen sharing food at a church charity event in Umuchima, Imo State. What so many people also did not know, what I'll call the dangers of a single story, because they only saw a video of Obi, is that just like himself, other prominent Catholics like Senator Rosita Izunaso of Imo West were at that same event, being of service to the poor, in line with the Pope's message and charge to all missionaries of hope among all people in his 2025 message to, like I said, we're on World Mission Day. He had a couple of charges for Christians. One, to be in the footstep of Christ, who is our hope. The second one being to Christians to be bearers and builders of hope among all people. And the third being for Christians to renew the mission of hope. And so according to reports, that was what was being obeyed by a priest. Talking about Reverend Father Maurice Emelu, who yesterday had an event to provide assistance to those who were in great need. And that was where those prominent people were seen serving food, because as part of what I call a duty in the Catholic Church, it is for the highs to serve the low at events like that and at declarations like that of yesterday. And so it brought about a lot of reactions, and of course, a lot of things have also happened in the polity. One being the statement made by Vice President Kashim Shettima concerning his ordeals with the Goodluck Ebele Jonathan-led government. Of course, trailing down to the visa war that has been going on for the past 24 hours since after restrictions were released by the U.S. and, of course, United Arab Emirates, down to the victories of the present Edo State Governor at the tribunal, which yesterday was cascaded at the Supreme Court. All of these and many more we are going to look at this morning on the Polity right here on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Good morning to you and welcome. My name is Chisom Chinedu, and of course I've got Franklin Ebuka in the studio with me. Good morning, Franklin.
Yeah, good morning, Chisom, and good morning to everybody listening to us. It's good that you made reference to, the two major trends we had yesterday when you talk about, the political scene. In fact, as I speak to you this very morning, if you go to X, you see that VP is also is still on trend.
Yeah.
Because of that statement he made yesterday at the book launched by former Attorney General of the Federation, talking about Adoke. Now, I'm talking about the P2B thing, because yesterday when the photos surfaced on the internet, showing him, carrying food and sharing to the downtrodden in society, of course, different narratives were brought up why he was doing that. And if you're active on social media like on X and Facebook, you will notice that people were actually bashing him, saying that he was being deceitful, that he was doing that because of politics, just to ingrain himself in the minds of the common man. But what I told him yesterday is this: before you make a conclusion, first of all, try to fathom the other side, and secondly, look at the precedent of a person in question. Was that the very first time of him being seen doing that? If that was the very first time, of course, he can now make a conclusion. But people didn't giving him that benefit of doubt, and now we now have a clearer story of what happened. He just talked about the celebration in the Catholic Church, which demands that the high should serve the low. I mean, people who are well placed in society should serve some other persons, and that's exactly what he did. They went for the event. In fact, he wasn't the only one who was there. Just like he mentioned, Senator Ostizanaso of Imo State, he was part of the high of the.
Why is nobody dragging OC?
No, you don't understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is because people.
Because it's Obi.
People do not know
the other side of the story.
Exactly. That's why, like, even this morning on X too, I still see some runners still dragging him without knowing that there is a story behind what they saw. So the thing is this: people are always quick to react without knowing the backstory. That has been our problem, and each time you get to confront it, they'll tell you, "I saw the video. That video is the evidence." But video, people get to forget that even when you talk about video being evidence, in this world of AI, and now.
Oh, but not that living in a court or a side that will suit the narrative they want to push, because that is obviously what happened yesterday. Nobody was able to pull up the video, probably when the sermon was read before the even food parts was gotten to. You get the point? And then if you come from a Catholic background, you know that this is not new. I mean, on a Catholic church, you know, this whole service from up to down is absolutely not new. I remember attending mass one day and a priest said, you know what, today men go home and be of service to your families. You are making lunch today being Sunday. You are taking care of your children's breakfast for Monday. You are going to take care of their school uniform washing and ironing. You know, we've always had this doctrine of service talked about at different points in the Catholic Church, one of which being this Jubilee message that was being preached, where this entire service thingy was the meat of the matter. Of course, the two of us are not alone. In-house analyst, Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki is here as well. Tony, what again I will never came with.
You know, but we still say good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Indanambara. Good morning, Indonesia. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, God Almighty. We are back here. And then I heard both of you discussing something that has to do with to be serving food somewhere else and all. It was traded yesterday, and many questions.
Daggers and swords everywhere.
Everywhere, and people said, "Has it got to this level?" You know, where? But Ebuka, I heard Ebuka saying, "Nah, in the world of AI, people don't ask questions, and before you know it, we've seen situation whereby there was going where Obi was kneeling before Tinubu at the Papa inauguration.
Actually.
Yeah, but no, I'm coming. And then there was another one that was actually they configured. But some people have different views about that. Even some of Obi's supporters. Some defended it. Some were against it. Some said that act signifies desperation. Yes, there are some people that say that the act of serving food in a public gathering, in a social gathering, signifies desperation, especially when it is done when we know that 2027 is in view. There are people that said this is the man that has been him from time to time, from time immemorial. That's what it does. So it just depends on the side of divide you are. Some said it's an act of desperation of somebody who wants to become the president of Nigeria. Some are saying this is P2B for you.
Now, because where we're going to now is from the story we now know, because I think I shared a video of where Senator Oster is also part of those sharing the food. So people, if you're able now, if for now that the backstory is out,
okay,
what they were doing there, he wasn't the only one who was sharing the food. It was actually a celebration within the Catholic Church where those who are the elite are expected to serve, you know, the common man, and they were doing that. Not he wasn't the only person doing that, but people just singled out that very, you know, that the narrative that Obi was doing that and decided to circulate it in social media. So that's why I keep on telling people, don't run with a single story. Anything that comes. Don't be too quick to react to say, oh, find, as in, just dig deep and find the story behind the story before you can then take a stand. So at the end of the day, it happened that it was not done for any particular reason. Rather, he was living the life of that very moment. He was living the life of what the ceremony they came for was meant to represent.
I think we must also point out that event happened on July 10. And then I think today is what?
July 11 happened yesterday.
It happened yesterday. And then it was situation whereby Obi was in Umuchi Matan in Imo State during an outreach inspired by Pope Francis' declaration of 2025 as the Jubilee Year of Hope. And then it was a kind of a Catholic thing, just like you explained. And he wasn't the only one spotted sharing the food, but just as many will have it, he will be the spotlight. That is it. So the background, just like Franklin explained, was as a result of Catholic outreach, and it was inspired by Pope Francis' declaration of 2025 as the Jubilee Year. It happened in Umuchima town, where he was seen distributing food and essential supplies in that Umuchima town with other persons, not just him.
Okay, we need to quickly attend to some commercials. Once we get back, we see what the front pages of the papers say. Right after that, we dive into the analysis, and then we open up the phone lines and hear what you have to say. Keep it locked.
Odala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Good news and welcome to Winners Global Estate, Heaven in Ogwashuku and Nyocha Local Government Area, Asaba, Delta State. Home sweet home.
Ladies and gentlemen, mamas and papas, Winners Global Estate is here with their special promo package for real winners. Don't miss out in this laudable promo 2025, Heaven on Earth.
Buy, build, live, work, and enjoy. Unlock your dream home of reality. Winners Global Estate is selling fast. 3.5 million, 50 by 100. No more 7 million. Promo price. For booking and more information, please call
081 64404098 or 080 37443787. Winners Global Estate. Your security is assured.
Winners and Winners Global Estate. Quality. Except you build a house. The builders build a base.
Odala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Quality bread. Wendy's bread. For your family breakfast. Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. Mama, papa, they like Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. Even children, they like Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread. You get the better tasty we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread. Wendy's your bachichoma. Wendy's bread. The champion.
Wendy's bread, yum tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, Second Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onisha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, yum tasty bread.
Wendy's bread. Except you build a house, the builders build a base.
Crusade, crusade, crusade. Yes, so this one a mega once in a lifetime kind of crusade. Oh, House of Sublimes Properties Limited, the reigning real estate company known for zero problems, invites you to this land crusade with theme Gospel of Lands Crusade. If you have bought land anywhere and you are experiencing any problems or challenges, this crusade is for you. Highlights, connections, business deals, relationship meetings, first class entertainment, plus many other things. Date Sunday 20th of July 2025. Venue Night of St. Christopher Hall, All Saints Cathedral, opposite Red Cross, Onitsha. Time 12 noon prompt. Come and get your breakthroughs. Get fee free of charge.
For inquiries, call Bishop on 081 36 40 4171 081 36 40 4171.
Come one, come all. House of Sublimes Properties Limited. Your peace of mind.
Odala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Of course, it's still the Polity on Odala Radio 104.7 FM. We're going to go straight to seeing what the front pages of the newspapers say, starting with The Nation. We also have the Vanguard, the Punch, and the Guardian newspapers. And The Nation here, banner headline, visa restriction. Federal government rejects United States claim of reciprocity. The riders, president didn't stop 5-year visa for Americans. Nigeria won't accept Venezuelan criminal deportees. That's a statement there. Shatima visits Aileen Buhari, Abdul Salami in London on page 5. I am not in race for APC chair, says Akume on page 5. Senate removes Natasha as committee on diaspora chair on page 27. Okpeblo's Supreme Court verdict victory for Edo. Obaseki Ihodalo kick that talk about betrayal and disappointment right after that judgment. Find more on page 2. Mustafa gets knocked for downplaying Tinubu's role in Buhari's 2015 triumph. The rider Garuba Shehu, no need for bickering. President's support vital. This is on page 4. On page 6, Tinubu hails Committee of Niger Delta Youth Women for Development or Women to Development. That's on page 6.
So that became between Onanuga and the boss Mustafa. If you ask me, I would say let it continue, let them keep on firing, because of course that's going to give us content. And then let's go to the Vanguard newspaper. We have the banner headline here that says Visa War. FG explains stance as US lambs tighter measures. You can see the story on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. It has riders. Says 5-year non-immigration multiple entry visa for US citizens still in place. 90-day single entry visa validity period applies only to newly introduced e-visas. US introduces fresh $250 visa integrity fee for tourists, students, workers. Then another story here says, that's above the nameplates, FG to borrow 1.76 trillion naira through treasury bill sales in third quarter of 2025. That's on page 19. Shetima to APC, PDP, ADC, NMPP, we are all one. That's on page 26. Of course, he was yesterday. He was at the book launch by Adoke, where he made some comments, which a part of the comment is being interpreted by several persons in different ways, saying that by his comment he indicted the government he serves in, which removed a governor that was elected by the people. And the headline says, Tinubu's reforms boosting economic recovery, federal government. That's on page 9 of Vanguard newspaper. Bebelo declares new era for Edo. Supreme Court affirms mandate. That's on page 7 of Vanguard newspaper. 2027 ADC will dislodge Tinubu. APC Arebo Shola, he's the one saying so. The story is on page 5. It has a rider that says vows not to sideline state chairman. Otomi backs coalition. Of course, Otomi yesterday, despite the fact that DSS sued him, he launched his shadow government yesterday. This one says, again, herders kill 4 policemen, NSCDC officers in Benue ambush. That's on page 6 of Vanguard newspaper. If not for Tinubu, Buhari wouldn't have won APC primary presidency. Onanuga has been firing. It's on page 8. Senate sacks Natasha Duagan as committee chairman. That's on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. Okay, so these are the headlines we have on the front page.
From the Vanguard, we proceed to the Punch newspaper, where the banner headline here says economy standoff. Governors get 4.5 trillion naira local government funds 1 year after Supreme Court ruling. The riders, LG yet to open CBN Bank, CBN accounts. Labour blames governors, AGF for delay. Falano, Sands accused governors. FG on page 2. Nigeria rejected US push to accept Venezuelan deputies. Tugar has that to say on page 9. Tugar had a lot to say, actually. Again, herders kill 4 policemen. Okay, pardon me. Buhari government went after my allies post 2015 election. Good luck, Jonathan has that to say on page 9. NNPC refineries may never work again. Dangote has that to say on page 23. Corrupt politicians using crypto wallets to launder money. EFCC chair on page 7. Igodalo angry as Tinubu governor sprays Pueblo's court victory on page 8. 3-year-old boy dies inside Lagos silk away on pages 4 and 5. LG poll, ballot snatching will trigger by-elections. LASIEC warns on page 6.
I think people should begin to pay for their negligence, because when I read the story of the 3-year-old boy who died inside a septic tank in Lagos, just can you imagine when a landlord digs a septic tank and leaves it open? What are you expecting to happen? Now over to get a newspaper.
They would have called it a ploy for human sacrifice.
Now, on Vanguard newspaper, we have the banner headline that says, imagine boom in home services, costly substitute for ailing hospitals. That's on page 4 and 5 of the Guardian. Is the big story on the Guardian newspaper. This one says, INEC deploys online party registration portal as applications hit 127. More applications were raised, I think about 7 of them. FG shrug off U.S. pressure to accept foreign prisoners deportees. That's on page 3 of The Guardian. 210 trillion naira probe. Senate berates NNPCL boss for defiance. Issues ultimatum. That's on page 3 of Guardian newspaper. Then, security operatives killed. Others missing in fresh Benue attack. You can see page 20 of Guardian newspaper. ECOWAS court rejects bid to overturn $10,000 judgment against Nigeria. That's on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper. Lagos LG polls APC opposition parties bicker over exercise. This one says Iodalo accepts Supreme Court verdict, decries robbery, betrayal of Edo People's Trust. That's on page 6. ADC coalition faces uphill tax to unseat Tinubu, says presidency. Bode George. That's on page 8. And these are the headlines we have on the Guardian newspaper.
Right, and now we are getting right into the business of the day, which is looking at these matters critically, and we are starting with the visa war. The Vanguard says of G is explaining its stance as U.S. slams tighter measures. The federal government yesterday denied stopping the issuance of the 5-year non-immigrant multiple entry visa for United States of America USA citizens, a policy the U.S. cited as reason for the latest visa restrictions against Nigerians. This came as the U.S. continued its tight immigration policies with the introduction of a new $250 visa integrity fee targeting mostly non-immigrant visa applicants, including students, tourists, and workers' visas. It will be recalled that recently, several countries, including the U.S., the United Kingdom, Canada, and the United Arab Emirates, UAE, have introduced stricter visa restrictions against Nigerians as part of their immigration crackdown on growing protectionism among the world superpowers. Tony, let's start with this entire drama. And of course, the reasons that have been alleged to be behind these sanctions. I listened to that interview that was had with that foreign affairs. I'm trying to recall his name now.
Tugar.
Yes, Tugar. That's his name. He said a couple of things about how the refusal to accept Venezuelan deportees was one of the reasons why this happened. But this is like, I'd say, the climax of something that has been happening in bits for quite some time now. We have seen restrictions getting stiffer and stiffer. We've seen conditions getting tougher and tougher. So do you think Nigeria at this point, like they have anything to lose if Nigeria actually more like pays back in this coin? Or should we be negotiating for some sort of softer landing for Nigerians who have the intentions to go to these places?
For me, I think we have to probably negotiate. If you go all out on full throttle, you may have yourself to blame. You don't engage in a war you know you are bound to lose more. You cannot engage the United States of America in this visa war. They are the superpower. They have got everything going on for them. They have got allies that they can tell anything. Those allies will work with them. And many of the world powers, look at NATO. They are the one engineering NATO, telling NATO where to go, where not to go. So they are superpowers. So we are more just try to do what we are supposed to do. And if you look at that issue, we looked at it yesterday extensively. It was on July 9, where the U.S. Embassy in Abuja switched to single entry 3-month visa for B1, B2, and F. These are visa categories, and even J category as well. A sharp rollback from previous 5-year multi-entry visas. Very devastating. Very devastating. And for US, they cited reciprocity, since Nigeria doesn't issue similar long-term visas to Americans and broader global norms. If United States of America can hold on to that to say this is why we did what we did, that in the case of Nigeria, what is our visa policy? What's Nigeria visa policy to United States of America? How many of these categories covered will you have such period of time, and at the same time the entry number. So it's important we ask that question, because US is saying we have given you this for a long time, but you have not reciprocated, so we are taking it back, even when we cited other things we thought could be the reason. So I have said many times that there is always reciprocity in international politics. So US have done what what they felt right will be well for the country, and then you raise a very important notion: why don't we engage them? And they also cited other reasons anyway, not just the issue of reciprocity, as mentioned earlier on. There was this, I think, Department of State. They have a Department of State, a June statement, Department memo, which noted inadequate sharing of security, identity, and counter-terrorism data from Nigeria. There was a memo in June where the State Department was saying that information of those coming into United States of America from Nigeria, they need to know everything about the people involved, the demographics, everything, even including your grandfather names and your grandmother's name, places you've worked, what you've done, every information about you they would want to know. Cases you've been involved, even in court, both civil or non-civil. So they would want to have this information about every individual, and they say Nigeria has not been able to share those critical and vital information with them. Not just Nigeria alone. They cited some ECOWAS countries, and Nigeria is totally inclusive. So the major reason why they did what they did, one, issue of reciprocity, and then inability of Nigeria to share those vital information with United States of America. So I'm aware that Nigeria, our, would I say, visa policy, that US citizens, if you're a US citizen, definitely require a visa to travel to Nigeria. There is no exemption. In fact, there is no free entry anyway. We have tourist visa. That's the one Nigerian embassy issued to Americans. You have business visa, you have e-visa, and visa on arrival. These are the three major visas. When you talk about tourist visa, Nigerian embassy in Washington issues to Americans 90 days stay, and it's only valid for 90 days. They will issue you just 3 months visa, and that 3 months visa for tourism is valid for 3 months. Then if you have if it's business visa, the same thing, 3 months, but it must include additional documentation like company's invitation. A company in Nigeria must invite you as an American citizen for business without invite, and that company must be registered under Corporate Affairs Commission, and it must have registration certificate. Once such a company invites you from US for business, you will be issued a business visa that's going to last for 3 months, and the valid period, the issue of number of entries, we are not captured. Then the one of e-visa and visa on arrival, because I'm aware that as of May 1st, Nigeria introduced e-visa for just stay, like business, tourism, but it must be processed in about, I think, 48 hours. Holders of such visas may get visa on arrival. So the important thing is, US is saying that in all of this, you cannot even issue us 5 years, but we have given you 5 years, multiple entry. You are giving us 3 months. We are reducing your own to 3 months, single entry. That's more like doing to Nigeria what Nigeria is doing to them. So you are here crying.
Okay, so Tony, let's look at the other side of this story, because yesterday watching Toga explain, he said he tried to link what is happening to Nigeria now to Nigeria refusing to accept deportee Venezuelans into Nigeria, because we know that Trump, when he came in, he was talking about America first, that he wanted to protect America, and he was saying that all those immigrants who are in America, they have to go back to their different places. And we know that some persons have even been been deported. Now, yes, that same yesterday, there was a statement which was issued by Bayo Onanuga. If you go to his X handle, you can see that too, and that one came after the Ministry of Foreign Affairs had issued a similar statement. Now, Onanuga said that there was never a time that Nigeria stopped issuing 5-year visa to Americans. That it's been 5 years, and when Tinubu came, that Tinubu continued on that. So he was not saying that there is no justification that what America did is based on reciprocity. Now, they're trying to link it to the fact that the President Tinubu attended BRICS meeting in Brazil. And they know that this very power struggle among the world powers. So do you think that what is happening to Nigerians now is all about international politics, or US is just trying to be more meticulous, trying to control the number of Nigerians who are going to the country in a bid to align with Trump's policy of protecting America?
There is international politics, there is no doubt. Everybody that rules out international politics will be making a mistake. And some of the reasons you were cited, these reasons are not tenable, honestly speaking. And if you look at, they are saying Nigeria does not issue 5-year visa, and then Nigerian government saying we issue 5-year visa. The truth is, who is speaking the truth? But I have been able to research some record. All I could get was 3 months visa. I didn't get 5-year visa, but Nigerian government says they issue 5-year visa, and Nigerian government has put themselves in a way that you cannot even trust them over the years, not because of Tinubu's government. So do we believe what US is saying, or do we believe what Nigerian government is saying? But the truth remains that there is this pressure. There's US wouldn't like any country it believes it has business and other opportunities with to mingle with anybody known to be their enemy. So the issue of the Venezuelan deportees or migrants, so one could say that there is element of truth in what the Minister of Foreign Affairs has said. There are things that US would want Nigeria to do for them, because if you do it, we're going to continue with the aid. If you do it, we're going to just give you those things we've been giving out to you, those handouts. And if you don't do it, there will be a problem. So I have maintained that there is international politics in all of this. This US visa restriction, all these single entry 3-month visa, they are not really reciprocity issue for me, if you ask me. But it is America's broader push to ensure that Nigeria complies with their international politics, which they have been playing over time. So let's remove all these restriction. Mr. President attended BRICS meeting, and then not within a week, Mr. President attended that BRICS meeting. The next thing, we were issued visa restriction. And when we are pressuring to get into BRICS, and these BRICS, these are countries that want to do away with American dollars. American dollar for them cannot be the world currency. And it has jeopardized business opportunities, transborder trades, and so many things for these countries. You have Brazil, you have Russia, you have India, you have China. These are countries you have under the BRICS. And these countries believe that they cannot be under United States homogenic agenda for a very long time. And they want to break away. And many of them have got economies going down well with them. And Nigeria seems to key in that line. And anybody that is a member of BRICS, US sees that country as a rival. And they will punish the country with sanctions, they will punish the country with visa restriction, and quite a lot. Don't be surprised that our trade volume with the United States of America will begin to decrease, because they are the highest buyer of our oil. They are the highest buyer of our oil. And we've got information that they may be doing away with that. So if they do away with our oil and the amount and the way they buy those things, that's how we get our foreign revenue from. So it is going to be very difficult for Nigeria. That's more reason. Before you make any decision, you take any step.
You know, Tony, for some things to actually happen, something has to give, right? And so it's expected that if these are some of the conditions, we look at what actually are we looking at for us to be suffering all of these. Do we have to stick to exporting raw like crude, and probably look towards, even would I say, boosting our economy to the point where we are able to export finished products and all of that. And also, when you talk about the politics of things, especially in the international economic circle, and all of these permutations concerning it being some sort of punishment, Nigeria was not the only nation slammed with some of these stiffer measures. And I'm just curious to find out if this is entirely all about what you've said so far, or are there other things that possibly could be at the back of the minds of policymakers like Trump, who, for instance, has been pushing about America first. Yesterday, we had a conversation, and you also accepted the fact that some of these nations are probably trying to secure places for their people to make sure that home is, do I say, they have more jobs for the locals, the economy serves the locals better, as against having foreigners come in and, do I say, short on their quota in all things generally.
If you ask me, just like I said yesterday, there are things we may not be capturing in this conversation. In all of this, who stands to lose? I'm going to look at, in fact, this 2025. US has made, I think, U.S. exports to Nigeria in 2025, I think in numbers should be around $2.12 billion. And what U.S. has imported from Nigeria, and what, U.S. has imported from Nigeria is about $2.417 billion or thereabouts. I'm just trying to look at the trade volume between these two countries in 2025, because we are still in 2025. And Nigeria is being favored more, because trade surplus favoring Nigeria with about $295 million. So that is it. If this international politics, or this, we can call it sub-code war, it's not a code war anyway, because we don't have anything we are fighting for, but mingling with our supposed enemies is a kind of something that worries UX. And if you look at the countries, UX issued this visa ban. Look at Afghanistan, look at Myanmar, look at Chad Republic. In fact, look at Chad, look at the Republic of the Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan. These are countries that UX in these their July visa restrictions slammed. You wouldn't see any. Look at the kind of countries, and we are categorized within this rank. And let me tell you something. United States of America, the President Trump invited about 5 African presidents for business summit. We omitted. It tells a lot.
They don't rate us. That was when I was listening to all of those, what the presidents were saying and all of them. One thing was just ringing in my mind. I was also asking the same question that you just asked. Why was Nigeria not invited here? Oh, as much as most of them were not from, as much of they were not from West Africa. So I was stumped between two lines. Possibly there's going to be a party for presidents from West African countries, or maybe Trump no rate us.
Apart from not rating us, in his first time, he called Nigeria and Africa all sort of name. I don't know if he has repented from that, but remember, in their broader visa restriction, there were those they gave partial restriction, like countries like Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, and even Togo, Turkmenistan, Venezuela. They have been in war with Venezuela. The point I'm trying to make is we are not playing the right international politics.
Okay.
We are not playing that. What do we stand to gain from BRICS? We don't even have a control of our economy. Look at our foreign exchange. We have a mono economy where oil gives us the foreign exchange. If you look at our foreign reserve, all these things are dependent on oil, the prices of oil, and some of these things. And we have not positioned ourselves in a place where we can say this or say that. Have we diversified our economy? If we had made strong investment in agriculture, solid minerals, and infrastructure, if you are engaging in this kind of trade war with United States of America, you find out that after all, they can go to hell. Can you say that now? For me, look at BRICS. Yes, these countries, look at the economies. Look at the economies. India, wonderful economy. China, wonderful economy. Brazil, wonderful economy. If you look at even some of these countries, you find that they have got economy going well for them, and they have made certain diversifications. Their economies are strong. What about our own? We are far off, and we are trying to align ourselves to BRICS. US is seeing it as drawing the battle line, and that is why they are slamming us with all these things, and then they are giving it to one of them.
Let me just add, because for me, in whatever that is that the US has tried to explain, you cannot extricate this very matter from how Nigeria has positioned international in recent time. Because talk about that very BRICS meeting, who were there? You talk about Russia, you talk about South Africa that Trump is having problem with. You talk about India,
China,
and what have you not. Then you now talk about those African countries that Trump invited for a meeting. What was he trying to do? He was trying to see how he can realign in terms of trade and relationship. And Nigeria has this I know we used to have this foreign policy of non-alignment. And then, so when you begin to go out of that non-alignment, you begin to align with some powers. Of course, it's going to affect the balance of play in international politics. And in countries like US who have the power, what do? They try to use that advantage they have to see if they can coerce you to rethink on how you are aligning. So I think it's all about politics. It's not Trump who he is trying to tell the world. But for me, for us Nigerians, this kind of thing tells us that that's why we need to build our country. That's why we need to build our country, in as much as no country can exist on its own. But when you have been able to build your country, of course, you can have that international power to bargain for anything that can come your way.
The importance of non-alignment, the only importance it has will be that because there's a way you align with the United States of America, they will demand that they build a military base around you, where they have such a base to operate around you. So if you align with them, there will be danger. If you align with other nations, there is also a danger. So Nigeria's non-alignment status, which we have failed to observe, we have not observed it. For us to move towards BRICS shows that we are making realignment, and for US it is totally unacceptable, and that is why they are slamming us with what they are slamming us. If you look at our trade volume in 2025, it has favored us more than them with over $290 something million. So you should be concerned about the business you have with countries and how those businesses are favoring you, not getting into some of these things. Nigeria came out to condemn whatever that is going on between Israel and Iran. Do you stand anything to get from Iran? Play your politics. Your support should be on what you will get from anybody. Your support should not be on religious ground. Your support should not be on moral ground. No country supports any country on moral ground. No country supports any country on religious ground. They support you based on what they are going to get from you. What is our own mission? Supporting or criticizing Israel? Bombing Iran? What do we stand to gain?
I think that's a big rhetorical question.
I don't know. Let's play the right international politics.
What do we stand to gain? And are we also thinking in the direction of what serves us as a nation, the average Nigerian who is possibly going to be affected? I mean, these people in the political class, whether we like it or not, have ways around these things. Some of their children were born in these countries, so these restrictions may necessarily not apply to them. But for the common Nigerian who possibly has businesses, maybe in the search of greener pastures, education, and all of that to pursue in these other climes. Yesterday in Abuja, there was a launch of what former Attorney General of the Federation, Minister of Justice, Mohammed Bello Adoke, called OPL 245, the inside story of the $1.3 billion oil block, a memoir. And also, a lot of statements were made yesterday. One of which stood out was what the the present vice president and former governor of Borno State said about what transpired between him and former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, at the time when he was Borno State governor, and Borno State was a hotbed for terrorist attacks. And of course, a lot of things has also been said in the past 24 hours and counting in the political circle. Tony, I'm trying to see how we can sum all of these things up and open up the phone lines in the next 3 minutes.
3 minutes. One, the vice president inadvertently, unknowingly said the truth. Maybe those in the presidency wouldn't want to hear. He never knew when he said it.
Is this going to affect his chances of being on the ballot?
Definitely, the presidency, when I mean presidency, those who manage the presidency may not be happy with the statement credited to Kashim Shettima yesterday at that book launch, when he said that the president has no power to remove even a councillor or a governor, but his principal has done that in River State. I recall why he was making that statement. He was the governor of Borno State, and he said that Goodluck Jonathan muted the idea of removing him as a governor and imposed state of emergency. And it was Muhammad Bello Adoke, the person who authored the book, The Inside Story OPL 245. So he said that he advised the president not to, that he has no such power. Then he said he wasn't convinced, and then Turaki, one of the sons in the cabinet, concurred with Muhammad Bello Adoke, and it was done on Mr. President that he has no power to suspend, remove, or not even a governor, even a councillor. The presidency, President Tinubu won't be happy with that statement. That is one. Then talking about the OPL, the Malabu. In fact, the next name to that OPL 245 is Malabu oil scandal. I have read a lot of books about that Malabu oil scandal. It was something done at Tete in 1998. He registered a shell company. When we say a shell company, a company that does not really or traditionally is a company, but it was actually set up to use it to siphon money. And then he named the company Malabu Nigeria Limited. It was registered in 1998. But guess what? In December 1998, it was registered. It was awarded OPL 245. That OPL 245 is within the Gulf of Guinea. Is one of the largest offshore deepest offshore oil
drilling sites.
Oil sites. I think it's about 2,000 square kilometers. Do you know the size? And he was required to pay $20 million for the OPL license. Do you know how much he paid? He paid $2 million, and he got that very license of such a sizable, very big oil mining site, OPL 245 Malabu. And that Malabu, he's the owner of Malabu. He concealed it. In fact, he used proses. He used different names to conceal the identity of Malabu. Muhammad Abacha, the son of the late head of state, was also one of the shareholders of that very company. Fast forward. In 2001, President Olusegun Obasanjo, what did he do? He revoked their license. He revoked the license of Malabu. When he revoked the license, in 2006, fast forward again, after series of negotiation and talks, the license was again restored. So when it was restored in 2006, Malabu in 2011, that was where the scandal now happened. In 2011, there was a scandal between Eni, Shell, Malabu, and Nigerian government and those who are involved. The biggest oil scandal in the world. About how many? $1.3 billion oil scandal. What happened? Malabu, remember they restored the license in 2006, but in 2011, Nigerian government made them to relinquish the license so that Shell and Eni would procure or take over the license and all that. So taking the license means having the oil site. And then there was this arrangement where Shell and Eni. Shell is a Royal Dutch company, and then Eni is a company headquartered in Italy, where they brought $1.092 billion paid in an account managed by JP Morgan Chase in London. In fact, it was Nigerian government that set up that account. So we call it escrow account. You know what is escrow account? An account whereby if two parties want to have a business, the third party goes in holding. That's Nigerian government becomes the escrower of that very account. So we are learned that such amount of money, Shell and Eni wired $1.3 billion in that escrow account. So when they wired it, Nigerian government they are the one controlling the account. So what the Nigerian government did was to wire 1.092 billion to Malabu. And then there are some reports that said it wasn't up to 1.029 billion. Some reports said it was $875 million. There were some reports that said it was about $900 something million. But that's, I think, a majority of reports have it that it was 1.092 billion dollars. So the Nigerian government returned the remaining amount, about $208 million, as the bonus signature for the oil site. And in that 1.092 billion, whichever one Malabu got, it was wired into Malabu account with JP Morgan Chase. And in that, what happened? They started distributing this money amongst politicians, among civil servants, among everybody.
So sort of buying off from Malabu.
They, in fact, remember how this whole thing started. Malabu shouldn't have paid
They should have paid $2
million. In fact, how can you award a contract to your company as a minister of petroleum resources? Remember, Dan Etete was the minister of petroleum resources, awarded a contract of such nature to a company owned by him, which he concealed, and he had Muhammad Abacha as part of the shareholders. In fact, Muhammad Abacha later sued Malabu, saying that they delisted him when the father died. So it was a multiple legal suit instituted in Italy, instituted in Netherlands, and also instituted in London because of the involvement of JP Morgan Chase, and then also in Nigeria. So I think it was an account Adoke rendered yesterday trying to absolve himself because he had been cleared by courts, but it was the biggest oil scandal ever, not just in Nigeria, globally.
All right, let's take comments from Facebook, Franklin, and of course take down the curtain on today's edition of the show.
FEO on our Facebook page says people like Irono Mokre refuse and talk non-stop because of this very act of Mr. P2B. He's listening for Magleri. Master B SJP says to discourage multiple registration, a voter can apply for transfer of voter card to present polling units from one location to present location. Okay, he posted from Monicha. Dr. Maulebera from Owerri says, why didn't Shetima join the masses to speak against this evil? Then, why did it take him this length of time to speak out? So now that the truth is revealed, what do we do next? Let Fubara be reinstated immediately. We can't all this illegality to stand. Enough is enough to unwholesome practice in this very country. And she went on to also add that, why is Ababio playing God in this country? I want to remind him that power is transient. You have it today and tomorrow is gone. Whatever we do today becomes history tomorrow, and history has a way of judging our actions and inactions. I also want to remind him that God is still on the throne, watching his meal grind slowly but surely. Senator Abio, know thyself. And then Ogochukunenye, okay, he's watching from or rather listening from Sokoto Road in Onitsha. Okay, thank you for your kind words. And then quickly look at the comments from our video, and we have this very one from Onuchuku Manuel. Okay, good morning too, thank you for watching. Then Master Bay, okay, he says, what a humble man like Mr. Pitobi, a man with intimidating certificate. Mr. B is like Jesus likeness to serve Nigeria. Okay, and then Eke Gona says, social media going crazy yesterday just for seeing Mr. B sharing food in an event organized by Kali Church in Imo State. People shouldn't take it as a political inspiration. Obedient is still the name. Okay, so these are the reactions we have from our Facebook page.
All right, gentlemen, we are taking down the curtain. What are your last words, Tony?
I think we've done justice to what we have before us, and then we'll keep doing that. All we can tell our people, please go out. If you have not registered, go and get registered so that you're part of the democratic and electoral process, even when the system we have been talking about may not really be what we want it to be, but you still have a chance to do something within, not from outside.
All right then, Franklin.
I take a bow.
All right, definitely. This is where we take a bow for this week. The Polity is going to make a return next week, Monday down to Friday, right here on your seriously authentic Dial Dollar Radio 104.7 FM. Until then, do the right thing. Be a good Nigerian, a patriotic Nigerian. Like I would always say, the change you desire, the change you want starts with you. Good morning. My name is Chisom Chinedu.
The land is
Udala Radio 104.7 FM.
The land is green, it's green, oh, oh. The land is green, it's green.